UK inflation is at 40-year highs. Bitcoin stopped working. Biden is going to release more oil. And Russia's running out of troops. If you think the world is melting, you, sir, are correct. Hey everyone, this is Chris. Welcome back to the channel. And this is your daily Uncut news. So let's dive in. As I mentioned, UK is at a high for inflation. In fact, it's a 40-year high, 10.1% double digit. Anything above, 10 looks pretty scary. And you guys can see here, let me read some of this to you. According to the latest snapshot from the ONS, electricity prices rose by 54%. This is in the UK. Gas prices up by 95%. And this is a quote. It's clear the damage has been done. This is a Tory crisis made in Downing Street and paid for by working people. So if you thought politics was bad in USA, just take a look at the UK. The facts speak for themselves. Mortgage costs are soaring. Borrowing costs are up. Living standards are down. And we are forecast to have the lowest growth in G7 over the next 2 years. So it's pretty tough right now in the UK. And to be fair to people over in the UK, it's not just them. It's the USA. It is Korea. It is China. I mean, everyone's having struggles right now. Obviously, it's you're not alone, but it does make me feel a bit better as being American that at least we don't have 10% inflation. But let's hope we're not going to follow. One of the things I will say though is if you take a look at the comparison. So this is CPI data, and you can see all the countries are trending up. So this is UK, Germany, USA, France, and Japan. Japan has the lowest inflation, but also the lowest growth. So that's kind of what's going on over there. But, inflation's up everywhere. And so it's hard to see anything positive. Now, what are we thinking about for forecasts? Got some data here. So this is forecast for 2023 next year. Again, who knows for sure. But they're forecasting that UK inflation is not going to go down anytime soon. You can see this here, maybe 6.5-ish, something like that. Germany's still going to stay elevated. Forecasts here are US will be around 4% inflation, France around 4-ish, and then Japan will be lower, less than 2. Now, remember the Fed Reserve in the USA wants to target 2% inflation. So the idea is that they won't be there not even until maybe 2024 kind of thing. So take a look at these numbers and see what you think on this stuff. But if you're in the UK, it just doesn't sound like things are good. And part of the problem with inflation is as cost goes up, right? Pension funds, workers, everyone wants more money. I'm sure you guys understand this. And this is going to it makes it hard to bring inflation down because, when you have to start paying people more money, be it from the government or companies that pay people more money, everything costs more. So one of the things that they've been talking about doing is taxing banks more because they've been benefiting. The other one was taxing energy companies. Things are just crazy over there. And there's this even more crazy. There was this poll that was like, let's kick out Truss and bring out good old Boris. So, I mean, if that's what you guys want to do, go for it. But I don't know. It just, I don't have any faith in UK leadership. And I'd love to hear from people in the UK if you have any faith in what people are saying. But guys, I get it. Just things are going up in expense, and it just seems like there's no one who's in charge. It's tough. And in the USA, we had Biden. He just announced they're going to release more oil from the emergency reserve. And what's the emergency? The emergency is that they might lose the midterm election. So it's so ludicrous. If you're going to do it ahead of time. But obviously this is politics, and politics certainly matters to politicians, of course. Not anything unusual, but it is a thing. So they're going to try to bring down oil prices before the election. Now, there is a disturbing thing, though, that has been reported. Is basically they did a poll of voters, and some of the Americans, and this is a real problem, don't believe in democracy, essentially don't believe that the voting system would actually work. Let me read this to you guys, because I do think it's actually quite serious. So here, this is a poll. The poll shows 47% of Americans say they have, quote, a great deal or quite a bit of confidence that votes in the 2022 midterm elections will be counted accurately. So we're talking about, does our elections work? Can we count votes? Confidence is highest among Democrats, 74% of whom say they're highly confident. On the Republican side, confidence in elections is decidedly mixed. 25% have high confidence, 30% have moderate confidence, and 45% have little or to no confidence. So this is a real big problem. And if you understand how this game works, right? So You know, according to these kind of numbers, the Republicans would probably say, oh, well, if Republicans win, then therefore the count must be accurate. It's just a real big problem to, you know, have distrust in our democracy. And I mean, perfectly frank, Putin wins. I don't know what else to say. A democracy is vital. Voting is vital. And when people completely lose faith, and let me continue to read this, and I'm sure you guys know why, but I want to make sure it's clear. That erosion of trust came after 2 years of Trump and his allies promoting lies about the 2020 presidential election and peddling conspiracy theories about voting machines. Narratives about mailed ballots mysteriously changing vote totals have been 1% source of misinformation. To be clear, results announced on election night are unofficial and often incomplete. It's normal for counting to continue several days after election day as mailed ballots received by their deadline are processed and added to the tallies. So, you know, I'm sure you guys understand this stuff. It's just a real hassle. And I've said this so many times. I mean, I'm totally fine with people having different opinions. I got no problem with that. But just making up stuff, conspiracy theories, just making up facts, it's a real problem. And, you know, when I was in college, I had a ton of Republican friends. When I was in the military, I had Republican friends. And we can disagree on stuff and we can still be friends. We can get along. We can say, hey, you think taxes should be this way? I think taxes should be that way. No problem. I got no problem with that. But when we just start like just making stuff up, I have a real problem with that. And I hope we can get back to normalcy. And part of the problem, and I'm just being real, is, you know, I'll make YouTube videos and stuff like that. And it's just conspiracy stuff everywhere on the internet. And so, you know, if you want to have a popular YouTube channel, just say that aliens exist and you're preparing for the zombie apocalypse, and you'll be really popular because there is an audience for that kind of stuff. But I don't want to live in that world. So, so anyway, I just had to mention to you guys, it's a real problem. And I hope you guys understand why I mention these things. And I do expect the Republicans to win, though. And if they do win, the Republicans won't have any problem with the election results. So it is what it is. Okay, so Citi says that they say U.S. stocks are pricing recession more than any other asset. So basically saying stocks are getting beat down by recession. Thanks for letting us know, Citibank, as if we didn't know. And it's kind of funny, the stuff that they say, because you gotta hear this stuff for yourself. I'll read it to you. This is from Citigroup. U.S. equities are pricing the highest odds of recession than any other asset class and may be poised for more losses, according to Citigroup. This is their quantitative strategist. Quote, U.S. equities have priced in the most, but not enough, recession risk, and earnings estimates have further to adjust. U.S. bonds have priced the least risk, but it will take some time before bonds react to recession risks given ahead. So they're saying there could be more downside ahead, and that, you know, stocks are the ones that are most reactive to what the Fed is doing, and possibly, you know, the coming recession, which seems like everyone's agreed upon. So, I mean, I agree on it too. I think the recession is more likely than not. And then read the rest. It's really funny. No asset class is overpriced in recession risk, but equities have factored in this scenario most. Quote, this time is unusual as stubborn inflation has kept pressure on fixed income, which usually rallies as recession risks rise. And this is the font that's really funny. This is what Citigroup recommends. Citigroup, this is what they recommend. They recommend investors to use trend following as the main strategy now, saying it has done well during periods of slowdowns and stagflation. So the recommendation is follow the trend. Like, great. Follow the trend, guys. So if stocks go up, follow the trend. If stocks go down, follow the trend. So I just thought that was really funny. Obviously, it is a kind of weird advice, but it is what it is. Tesla's going to be reporting earnings, and I believe this one will be moving the market. We've talked about this the last couple of days. If it sinks, it could sink and take a lot of meme stock and kind of froth with it. That is a possibility. My understanding is that Tesla is the number 4th most popular stock that retail, just regular mom and pop people, you and I, etc., like to buy. Number 1 most popular stock that people like to buy is Apple. So, basically a lot of people have Tesla, and if that thing crashes, it may force people who are over leveraged to sell. So we'll see what happens, guys. I'm bearish on it. I think it's overvalued myself. I think Elon's also going to be selling the stock to fund Twitter. And I just think, you're looking at PE of 79, and I think you'd be crazy, especially in a recession. But I get it. There's a lot of Tesla bulls and crazy people out there. So if you haven't seen my video on the market psychology, please watch that. I think you'll find it humorous and insightful. I hope so. In Russia, they're actually running out of men, and this is actually a really sad article, to be perfectly frank. And the basic gist of it is that there's just not enough people to fight Putin's war. So this could be what brings it to an end. Is like people in Russia just don't want to fight. Let me read it for you and you guys can get a sense of it. Actually, this part here too first. Some men who are repulsed by the invasion of Ukraine left when the war broke out. Others who opposed the Kremlin in general fled because they feared imprisonment or oppression. But the majority of men who left in recent weeks were either called up to serve in the military, wanted to avoid the draft, or worried that Russia might close borders if Putin declared martial law. So basically, people are running away. So they don't want to fight, which I completely understand. Right? Why would you want to go fight your neighbor? And also too, they're worried that they might be imprisoned or something like that. And my understanding is Russia is just grabbing people off the street and just put them in the military and basically used as cannon fodder with like no training and just thrown in the combat. So it's a really horrible situation for everyone all around. We'll continue. No one knows exactly how many men have departed since Mr. Putin announced what he calls his, quote, partial mobilization, but hundreds of thousands of men are gone. Mr. Putin said Friday that at least 220,000 have been drafted. At least 200,000 men went to, so this is now talking about the people who left, at least 200,000 men went to neighboring Kazakhstan, which Russians can enter without a passport. According to authorities, tens of thousands of others have fled to Georgia, Armenia, Azerbaijan, Israel, Argentina, and Western Europe. And I can also tell you guys as well, they're coming here to Korea. So, I just hope people in Russia oppose, And one thing too that's interesting is that they've been asked talking to local residents in say Moscow, and just local women are saying there's not any guys at the bars. Like just people are gone. They've been going to barber shops. There's no people there. Restaurants don't have as much business as before. And there was even a crazy one that said like even the strip clubs are empty. It's like kind of crazy. Let me read some more of this. Meanwhile, downloads of dating apps have significantly increased in countries to which Russian men fled. In Armenia, the number of new registrations of one dating app, Mamba, increased 135%. They're saying in Georgia and Turkey, downloads of dating apps are up 110%. Kazakhstan up 32%. And here's a quote: "All of the most reasonable guys are gone." This is a 36-year-old. It works in tech, and then she's saying the dating pool has shrunk by at least 50%. So basically, the guys are all leaving, and yeah, like I said, there's not really anything you can say positive about it, and I just hope the war ends soon. That's all I have to say. Now, regards to Asia, this is quite interesting. So Nomura and Morgan Stanley are saying this is a bottom for Asian stocks. So that's what they're calling, and you guys can make your determination on that for yourself. I think it's risky. My own opinion on that, but I would say if you are interested, just go with like a country ETF, and you can just pick whatever country you want to invest in and just go with that. It keeps it simple because in the market right now, there's just so much risk. But that's when you theoretically make money. When everyone's all scared, you jump on in. Part of the risk though is like I keep reading this crazy bad news. For whatever reason, they're still dealing with COVID in China. You can see here, Beijing COVID cases at a 4-month high. They're also building a COVID hospital facility in Shanghai, 3,250 beds. So they're really serious about the lockdowns. It was we talked about yesterday, Zhengzhou. They're like locking down 1 million people, and if you don't know what lockdowns are in China, they basically just like go to your apartment building, block it like literally with barriers and say you can't go to the store, and only one member from your household can go out and get groceries and come back home. It's just people don't like it. So don't ever think that people in China are like, oh yeah, I'm so happy to do this. I obey my leader. No, people don't like it, and so it's a real problem, that both the COVID and also people don't like it, and I feel sorry for everyone all around. So it's just a horrible situation. One of the things too that's also going crazy is actually Japan wants to buy more weapons, and this is sort of why I've been mentioning defense stocks for a while. If you're into that stuff, I don't think it's a crazy thing to say. And Japan's looking to stock up on weapons because they're kind of concerned about China and about North Korea as well. In North Korea, so you guys know I'm in South Korea or Korea. We just refer to as Korea. The North is the bootleg Korea, but they've been the North has been shooting at us, and we've been shooting at them. So what are you gonna do? Basically, they shoot I think it was the South Koreans or the Koreans. They shot 10 shells at them, and then the North Koreans are like, oh yeah, well I'm gonna shoot 100 shells back, and I'm not making it up. It's right here. It's they fired 10 shells, multiple rocket launchers, and this is between 8:27 a.m. to 9:40 a.m. And then North Korea did 100 shells on Wednesday and 150 shells on Tuesday. They're just shooting at each other. So, it could be, I don't know. I don't have anything good about to say that either. Also, too, we've been tracking this story. This is a weird one. Trump has kept letters, and he's admitting now that they're top secret. Basically, what it was, when Bob Woodward did a bunch of interviews with people, Trump said, "Oh yeah, I got these, secret letters from Kim." So I don't know why he kept these things, and this is part of the stuff that he took to Florida. And this is a story that we track because it was like, why are you keeping these letters? But who knows? And then also too, the communication service in Korea. Kakao is like basically like a WhatsApp. Everyone uses it. It's got like some crazy high adoption rate, like over 90% basically. But there was a fire at the data center, and then the services were down for like 8 hours, and now the co-CEO has quit. And it's kind of interesting because I don't know if this is related to North Korea at all. I just don't know. But it's actually, it's really important to have communication. And if there is some sort of conflict, communications do want to get taken down. On a positive note, or well, actually not that positive, but people were able to get their money from the bank if they ran to it, and it's like kind of positive. This is in Vietnam. So basically, there was a bank run. I saw this a couple days ago. I wasn't sure what to make of it. And then this popped up as well that their currency is crashing. So we used to live in Vietnam, and been to several cities there. It's a great place to visit. So please do. And theoretically, now's the time to go. The currency is crashing, but the Vietnamese generally don't trust banks. So when we lived there, this is something we talked about on the channel before. Many of the rural Vietnamese just keep cash. They just don't trust banks. And now there is rumors that this bank would fail. I think this was like the 5th largest bank in Vietnam, and they're just like, dang, if the bank fails, your money's gone. So you're running to the bank and you're grabbing it and you're holding cash. So it is hard to develop a country when no one has faith in your financial system. Speaking of which, going to Bitcoin is interesting. I personally don't have any faith in Bitcoin, and it's funny because people who like Bitcoin like it because they don't have faith in the banking system. But it's like, how can you have faith in either? But basically, Bitcoin for like 85 minutes, there were no transactions. I guess it says right here there were 13,000 transactions that were stuck. So there was basically an outage for like an hour of Bitcoin. So if anyone's in the crypto, I'd love to hear your thoughts on this one. This sounds bad to me, and I saw this as well as that the EU was considering cracking down on essentially Bitcoin, mining. And basically, I'm sure you guys know, like, there's an energy crisis in Europe. Costs are going up like crazy. And so, this is sort of when, say, like, for example, say you're a miner in the UK and you're like gas and electricity costs are up like, double. Are you going to be mining for Bitcoin? Probably not. It's just not worth it. And the price will go down, and it just keeps kind of spiraling in that direction. And now that, EU may be like, maybe outlawing, Bitcoin mining, stuff like that. I don't see the value of crypto. That's just me. I know that some people do, but it's hard for me to see, especially given the world that we're in right now. And it's interesting too because usually you're either at the bottom or kind of post bottom is when you start getting all these investigations of people doing illegal stuff and stuff like that. And so the Fed is investigating Celsius over stuff like that. So there's been all sorts of funky stuff with that. I don't like any of these people. I don't trust FTX either. You guys know that. We talked about this before on the channel. And also too, it's kind of interesting, a bit of funny news away from crypto is mosquitoes. So if you've ever thought that mosquitoes like you over people around you, or if you've been around a certain friends and one of your friends is always getting bit up, turns out it's actually true. The difference, they did a test and it was really interesting. It basically has to do with your smell, and mosquitoes like some smells better than others. So not necessarily blood, but smell. And the other thing too is really quite interesting is that the person who got bit up the most, like, these poor people have to get, do this experiment, but the person who got bit up the most, they were like 100 times more attractive than the person who was like least attractive. So if you've ever thought that they're using the word magnet, mosquito magnet, you are correct. You are a mosquito magnet. So this has been your daily Uncut News, and I hope to see you back again soon.